What's going on, Grappler fans? I'm out here with my buddy TJ Fulmer in his 19 Illuma Duty. He's running 37 mud grapplers on stock wheels with no spacers, and just want to talk a little bit about what he's done to make those fit and how much you have to level your or lift your truck to make them fit, and where it might rub and everything, and how much you can stretch a lift kit, because like myself, he's actually pushed his leveling kit a little bit farther to get a little bit more height. So it's a 3.5-inch ready lift, which does accommodate for like dropping the radius arms and the anti-sway bar, a few things here and there, drops the bump stops. I can kind of show you guys that. So there's the spacer itself, and then you can see down in here that yellow bump stop has been moved down, as well as that little spacer for the anti-sway bar. So it is accounting for things as far as the steering goes, which is an important part of a leveling kit. That's why a ready lift or something might cost a little bit more than rough country. But he's also running an 1.5-inch rough country leveling kit to get up to 5 inches. So he's got 5-inch lift on 37s. Now, as you can see, he's got plenty of room. It's not rubbing on this big full drive valance, and it's not rubbing in the back here, but he is rubbing on the radius arm, which you can see right there. And that's the same way my truck was when I was leveled on 37s. I had an 1.5-inch leveling kit, and I wanted to show you guys his truck because mine is kind of hard to talk about where mine rubbed because it's on 10 inches of lift now, so it's hard to see it. And I do have a video specifically about where it does or doesn't rub with my different wheel and tire setups, but it's on 40, 1550s, and 2-inch wheel spacers. So back to his, you can see it's got a little bit more than level, maybe if he was like maybe a 1/2 inch high in the front, but it's a good look. Honestly, the thing looks really tough on those mud graps. So like I said, I had an 1.5 inch. That's probably the lowest you could go on 37s. I've actually seen somebody stock on 37s, because the main thing you're going to rub on is the radius arms, and you can't really get around that with stock wheels and 1350s unless you have spacers, and that's when you start rubbing on the bumper and the back of the fender. So if you don't run spacers, you can fit them on a pretty low truck, but you just can't turn all the way. So if he wants to run spacers on here, because he's at 5 inches of lift, he probably could still turn, and it would be super low and wide, but he may run into issues here. But I think he could clear them. But I wouldn't blame him for just staying tucked in like that. Like, you got that aggressive of a tire fit in there. It looks really good at stoplights, like from behind, and you have less rocks getting slung on your truck by not having spacers and everything. But check out the look from the back. Just a super clean look with those 37s tucked in there. So yeah, his kit accommodates for dropping it with that 3.5 leveling kit from Ready Lift. Stretched up a little bit more, he gets the height he wanted. Let me know what you guys have questions about. If you have a certain truck that you're trying to lift or do a leveling kit and you want to know how far you can push it, I've got a whole video about stretching lift kits, but just wanted to show somebody that has a leveled truck on 37s, show you guys what it looks like. And real quick, let me show you where mine rubbed at. So the radius arms, I don't have them anymore. I've got a 4-link kit now with this BDS. So there's the 4-link, and like I said, I have a video about how mine does not rub at all. I can turn full lock, but when I was leveled on 37s, just like you saw in his, rubbed on the radius arms. And if you see this cloth liner in here, you can see the shape of it, how it comes up. For some reason, on the passenger side, it did not do that. It was like straight down, so I had to cut it. You can see right here, I cut that kind of to match the other side. So it was rubbing on that with leveled on 37s. On this body style truck, you know, the 11 to 16, now on these new Illuma Duties, you might not have that problem. I think his actually looks are the same on both sides. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, so his, I think they fixed that to where they both match. I'm not sure why they were doing them like that. That could have just been the early 2011s. I'm not real sure, but that's the only place I rubbed was right here, and it just made a noise. It vibrated a little bit when I turned to the right. But yeah, rubbed on the radius arms a little. I have a 2-wheel drive Valence. As you can see how big his 4-wheel drive one is. We'll look back at mine. That helps, especially on a wider setup. You can see how short this one is. Even on this body style, the 4-wheel drive ones come down pretty far like his does. And that's something you can do to get a little bit more clearance. I've also got a BDS bumper spacer, which from up close you can kind of see it's offset here to the front, but it doesn't, nobody probably even knew I had that until I just told y'all. But that gives you a little bit more room if you're having issues with clearance there, but it looks totally normal. Let's see, what else can we do for comparison? So this is a, like I said, a 40 by 1550 on a stock 20. These are the same size wheels, and you can kind of see how much how much the wheel kind of is squeezing or crushing the tires. Like I said, a crush locks for like a mud setup. Man, that rock would really hurt your windshield if it came out. These mud grapplers, they don't hold a whole lot of rocks compared to like trail grapplers or Toyos or something, but when they do hold one, it's a big one, so you gotta watch out for that. And just something goes with off-roading. You're gonna scratch your truck if you're out there playing in the mud. So if you're trying to mall crawl, you know, you might want to stay out of the rocks if you're running mud grapplers, but you just can't beat the look and sound of them, and I think it's worth it. And honestly, I don't really have any rock chips. It's just something that you could think about. So you can see how stretched this tire, or actually squeezed this tire is on this little skinny wheel. And a lot of people would not recommend running a 1550 on a factory wheel. I've done it, I've seen it done. It's one of those things, kind of push the limits and just see how it works. I want to try it out. I think it looks great. We'll see back on his. Also, this is with the show the back 2-inch spacers, 40s. You can see how wide it is. It's not sticking out crazy like the 16 wides or anything, or my 24 by 14s, but you can just see a little bit of poke compared to his. They're just sticking out just because it's such a beefy tire, but honestly it looks pretty clean the way it's tucked in there. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like more of the leveled look with no spacers, or do you like my truck being a little bit bigger? You know, people talk about the Bubba look now, which is like the stocks and mud tires, and I think both these trucks are kind of in that category. So what do you think is a better Bubba look, the lifted or the leveled? And do y'all like the offset wheels? I'm thinking about putting some 26s on my truck now that I got some tires for from Nitto for 26s. So if y'all didn't know that came out, check out my video from that. They got trail grapplers for 26s now. It's been a long time coming. But what do you guys think it looks better, stocks or offsets? And how big of a wheel, how much tire, what do you like? I like a lot of tire, so even if I'm running a big wheel, I gotta have a big tire. So hopefully we'll end up coming out with some 42-inch Nittos soon. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how that comes and how long that takes to get out here, but I'm trying to keep growing, get the bigger tires I can, see how much. Now that I'm not rubbing, my tires aren't big enough. I mean, I had a leveling kit in 37s. That was a nice look, but I lifted it and it fit the 24 by 14s and 40s pretty well. But now I'm not rubbing at all on 40s with these stocks and spacers. So gotta get some bigger tires, see how much we can push this lift kit to the max.
how did you start Grappaholics? And
well, I worked at a surf shop in Atlantic Beach, Burt Surf Shop, and we had a few buddies there that liked trucks, and we all wanted mud grapplers on our trucks. And my buddy he had a cat eye. He ended up putting like a 6-inch lift and some XDs and stuff on. It was pretty clean with 35s, and then I had the 35s I got from my F-150. But basically, it was like the Trapaholics mixtape. Like we kept hearing that in different songs, and it was like Trapaholics, and we started saying Grappaholics like all the time because we kept just talking about mud graps a lot. And I was super nerdy back then too with all this stuff, and I was like, I knew everybody's Instagram name and what their truck had exactly, and they were like, man, you're like so good at that stuff, you should just make a Grappaholics page. And I did it, and just started posting, and eventually somebody like gave me some shout out with some big page that gave me a couple thousand followers, and I just kept going with it from there.
Yeah.
And that was in 2014 I started it, and I've just been doing it long enough, and now I'm talking to the guys at Nitto, trying to work on a deal with them just because I love their tires so much. I'm like their biggest fan, and it's been fun. I've been to a bunch of shows and met people. It's been a good time. But yeah, I just kind of started doing it because I like mud graps, and now, you know, trail grapplers, I like those a lot too. It's just, I like how Nitto has all those different tires that are called grapplers. So you can have like a ridge grap that's like totally like mild and not loud or anything, all the way to a mud grap that's crazy. But I just really liked them and started posting them, and this always gave credit to whoever the picture was or whoever's truck it was. And then so I'd tag them, and then they would follow me because they'd be like, oh, thanks for posting my truck. And then, you know, sometimes they'd tell their buddies about it and they'd send me pictures. But it's mainly been like from posting people's trucks that send me. I started with just stuff that I liked, but I think it grew more from telling people, like replying to people in DMs and just posting their stuff they sent me, because then people want to follow you because you're actually posting their truck, and they might get posted if they see that you're posting other people. So that's pretty much how it's gotten where it's at now, and hopefully we'll hit 100,000 before too long. That's a big milestone.
Yeah.
Excited about that. But been doing YouTube for a while too, trying to get it growing the way that Instagram is. So. Radius arms, it's like one piece that is got two mounting points for the axle on it, and then it has a pivot point. So it's like as it moves, it like tilts the axle kind of, and the four length, it's like a separate bar for the top and bottom, and so it kind of more straight, like going. So you can see like how this is one piece right here. It's like a fork kind of, and then it connects right there to the bolt. And basically just makes that like a separate piece, just for when it's that high, and if it's moving a lot, like if you jump or something, and it went from all the way down to all the way up, it's actually from like moving a lot, and just connects stuff to the drive shaft. But it's not a huge deal. It does look better, I think. That's the main reason I got it. Down there, with how big a lift this is, it doesn't look bad. But if you do like a 6-inch lift with a big drop for it, it looks like pretty obvious. It's kind of weird, so I like the four one. Honestly, there's a bunch of different ones, but I like the straight, just basic bars like the BDS has, and then even the big crazy lifts like Plan B5 and everything that have a straight. Well, that's basically a full-length front rear, and it's just the same thing. It just looks really cool. But I like the straight, like something that's like. Have you seen anything like that?
Yep, I've seen it.
So it's a 4-lane kit, and it's all set up so that it can move and everything, but it's just like straight bars with like iron joints at the end, and I think that looks pretty clean, even on those really big ones. But that's what would be really sick on this thing. I'm hoping to get one eventually. It's just so expensive, but
I got a price one time at like 23.
yeah, I talked to him too. It was like exactly so like 22 or something. I've actually, there's a guy here in town